The pitcher's duel of the century, resulting in quite the frustrating. Well, just roll the intro.
You are Locked On Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome to the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, the show where we talk nothing but the Diamondbacks Monday through Friday. And thank you so much for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every single day. My name is Daniel Biggs, and I'll be your host. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Today, if you're listening to this, which you are, because that's how this works. If you're listening to this, you are a much bigger person than I am. I have a very hard time bringing myself to listen to podcasts about or the radio about my sports team when they lose the day before. So if you're here, congratulations. You are one heck of a sportsman or sportswoman, and I tip my cap to you. I was not going to do that literally. If you're just listening to this, I literally tipped my cap because I realized I was wearing one, and it would be weird if I said I tipped my cap to you, and I didn't actually do it. Am I just avoiding the topic? Maybe. But let's go ahead and hear from Paul Baker, I think is how it's, or Bacher. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Hopefully one of those was right. But he said, "My heart is sore from yesterday's game." This is 2 days ago, so from game 2. "My heart is sore from game 2, but the hope is high. I'm hoping they get the opportunity to play with house money like it felt in 2023. Maybe a great time for them to get hot and to exceed the expectations of everyone. Probably not a World Series run, but win the wild card games and enjoy the run." I know I want nothing more, Paul, than to be able to like I wish so bad that the Mets had lost yesterday. We had won, and we were up closer, and in a matter of days we just overtake that wild card spot. We get a few games above that cutoff point, and then we're playing with house money, and we're able to kind of relax a little bit, and not every game feels so stressful and frustrating. I don't think that's what's going to happen seeing the rest of the schedule, but I do believe that the Diamondbacks play best when they are the underdog and they have a chance. If there's no chance, then they don't play well at all. If they're not the underdogs, then they don't play well at all. But when they're the underdogs and there's a shot, that's when they play their best baseball. So definitely with all this, and we're going to talk about the game yesterday. And if you watched the game yesterday, you'll understand why I'm a little bit, off. But but even with all that, I'm still very optimistic about what we have ahead of us. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But today we're going to be talking about the updated playoff picture. How does it look today now that all the games have been played yesterday? How is it looking ahead of everything? Who are these teams playing? Who are we playing here in the next little bit? Spoiler alert, the next segment after that, we're going to be talking about our series against the Phillies, who is the next team that we're going to be playing. Not today, but tomorrow is when we start that series. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and recap yesterday's game, because it was an incredible game. Don't get me wrong. We lost, and very upsettingly, but I don't want to take away from how incredible the game was, because Brandon Pfaadt, who I've been a little bit nervous about lately, a lot of you have as well. He's been giving up a lot of home runs. He kind of loses the game a little bit early, and then we have to come and play catch up and everything like that. He pitched 5 innings. He pitched 5 no-hit innings in very few pitches. Gave up 1 hit and after 5 1/3, and then didn't give up a single hit for the rest of his time out there. And he pitched all 9 innings. I say all 9. He pitched 9 innings. 0 runs, 1 hit in the 6th, 97 pitches. So he threw less than 100 pitches in 9 innings, which is incredible. He threw 7 strikeouts and only had 1 walk. Okay, so completely shut out the Giants, and he did an amazing job at it too. So why didn't we win? Well, it's because Justin Verlander, unfortunately, showed up as Justin Verlander and not an old man who should have retired a few years ago. He was also incredible. The only reason he didn't go 9 innings was because we did at least a little bit better of a job of being patient on him. And he pitched 7 full innings with 107 pitches. So we got that pitch count a little bit higher. He gave up 3 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So Pfaadt definitely pitched the better game. But the thing with Verlander was I don't know. I mean, I know how he does it because it's his curveball and the way that he is able to fool the hitters. But in those 7 innings, there were 13 fly balls or pop flies. There was 13. That's almost 2 per inning. So 2 of 3 batters are popping out like easy outs from Justin Verlander. It was so frustrating. The first 9 hitters, 6 of them popped out, and it was just like there was nothing we could do. He was completely. It was so hard to get any real contact off of him. So that was very stressful. Ketel Marte, 0 for 5. He's not out of his little slump yet. I was really hoping that we would be building off of the other day's game 2, but apparently not. And again, everybody struggled offensively on both teams here, so we can kind of give him the benefit of the doubt there. He is a lot more reserved. He's not swinging at the very first pitch still, so I think what he's doing is he's still figuring it out, and he's still going, okay, let's try this, let's try that. So he is at least showing effort, which a lot of people in the comments and a lot of you guys have mentioned, and a lot of people outside of this podcast have mentioned that he seems like he's not trying. I feel like he is at least trying right now. He may not have been over the last week or two, but it does look like he's trying. It also looks like he's very frustrated and he's struggling a good deal. Whether I don't want to harp on him too much because I'm almost like afraid that he's got some like family matters or something that outside of baseball that's really getting to him that is why he's in such a slump. Like that's how bad it is that it's kind of like, are you good? Something seems really not right with you. And if he was my friend, I'd be like, hey, let's take baseball out for just a second. How are you? Are you good, man? And so it kind of really, honestly, yesterday kind of just broke my heart with Marte. I wanted to see more from him, and just a single hit from him could have, a handful of times, could have won us the game because we only needed 1 run. Corbin Carroll was 1 for 3. He had a triple in the 9th, right after Marte grounded out or something. So that would have won the game because that was the bottom of the 9th. He walked and he had a sac fly in the bottom of the 11th that scored our 1 and only run. So Carroll looking better. He was a lot of loud contact again. He's looking good. He did pop out a time or once, maybe both times. I don't remember, but I know at least once he popped out. Blaze Alexander was the only one to get a hit off of Verlander for the longest time. He had our only 2 hits for 5 innings or something like that. His first 2 at bats. We did, and then here's where it gets stressful. Brandon Pfaadt closes out the 9th. Incredibly, strikeout. Everything's looking good. Oh man, we are so ready to go. And then we load the bases. You've heard this before. We load the bases with only 1 out. So we have a guy on third. We had a guy on first who stole. Blaze Alexander got hit, loaded the bases, and there was only 1 out. And we couldn't make it happen. Pinch hit Del Castillo, and I think it was Jake McCarthy after that, and it just didn't happen. Just didn't work. So I'm sitting there, and I had my phone, like I was recording myself reacting because I was expecting another walk-off reaction. But okay, well, we're in the 10th, and we got through the top of the 10th without giving up any runs. And then not Corbin Carroll, McCarthy or whoever it was on second. We have a runner in scoring position again. We sack bunt. Boom. He's on third. 1 out. We got this. We did not have this. We ended up not making it happen again. And then Curtis comes in, who's a very good pitcher. I don't want to harp on him really because it's just this happens, but they got him. They had him figured out, and it was just hit after hit after hit. Murillo came in to replace him. He gave up all of the inherited runners as well as one other, and that was the point where it was like, okay, darn, we lost, and it was super frustrating. And then we came in, we managed to score 1 run off of a sac fly, but a little too late. 1 inning too late. So that's all we needed. A couple times is a sac fly. Sorry if you guys heard a dog barking. That was mine, not yours. Don't worry about it. Our pitching, though, listen, it's figured it out. I think it's doing very, very good. It's every single game I'm impressed by our pitching. There are individual pitchers who just don't seem to have it. Yesterday it was Curtis, and just doesn't really work out for that individual person on that individual game. But I am feeling a lot more confident in our pitching than I have in quite a while. So even before like a lot of the injuries this year. So I'm not really worried about our pitching. The thing that I'm worried about is our offense. Our offense needs to show up. Yesterday, or the day before yesterday, it showed up. The day before that, it showed up. And that was why we were able to win those games. Even though the game 2 days ago, we were down 4-0 to start the game. We still showed up and were able to win. So that's what the key is going to be. And that's what the key is going to be against the Phillies as well, is that our offense needs to show up. A few interesting things. Perdomo apparently has gotten on base more than every single player in the major leagues except for Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. So he is number 3 on base percentage in the entire MLB, which is pretty impressive. Like I mentioned, we couldn't square up on Verlander, but we were being patient on him, which is good, especially when you're up against a really tough pitcher like this. You need to get as many looks at him as you can. So the Diamondbacks had the right strategy. It just wasn't executed on. And again, the reason that this loss is so disappointing isn't because it's a loss, and it's not even because of the wild card race and everything like that. It's just because we were so close to sweeping the Giants and gaining ground on the Mets. We were so close. So we're not out of it. We're not even worse off than we were yesterday morning. The only reason we'd be worse off is because we have one less game now to make that ground, but it's only a game and a half. We're still ahead of the Giants. We're still ahead of the Reds. So we still got this. It was very frustrating, very disappointing, which if you watched it. But anyway, let's talk about the playoff picture, how it looks today as opposed to how it looked yesterday, and we will see what we have ahead of us. But before that, we're going to take a quick little break. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most about them is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. Enough of the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. Okay, so the Giants won. We know that. The Reds won, which is a bummer. They and the Giants were tied and are still currently tied. We lost, again, bummer. But the Mets lost, which is not a bummer. That is very good. That means that we didn't lose any ground in the wild card race. The Reds and Giants are a little bit closer on our tail, but they're still behind us. The Cardinals also lost because they were playing the Reds. So the Reds won, Cardinals lost. We are currently 1.5 games behind the Mets. They are playing today. We are not. So depending on how that game goes, we will either be 1 game behind them or 2 games behind them. In case you weren't aware, or if you just skipped to this part for whatever reason, we want the Mets to lose. So go Padres, right? The Giants and the Reds are 2 games behind the Mets and half a game behind us. We're 1.5. They are 2. And the Cardinals are now 4.5 games behind, and they only have 9 games left. So I am probably going to stop reporting on the Cardinals, as they're basically they're down by half as many games as there are left. So unless they make some big comeback, I'll probably won't talk about them too much. However, they are playing the Giants next week, so they may come up. We'll see. Hopefully they sweep the Giants. That'd be great. And then we're like, oh, maybe the Cardinals are sort of in contention, but not really. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. There are 9 games left for us. We have 9 games left. The Mets, the Reds, and the Giants are playing today, so they have 10 games left. We played 1 more game than they all have. So we only have 9 games left. They have 10. We have the off day today, which I think we need. And we need to come into the game tomorrow ready to go. The Phillies also have a day off today. So there's that to consider. The Giants are going to play 4 games against the Dodgers starting today. Then they're going to play the Cardinals and then the Rockies. I did look. The Giants are not one of those teams that loses to the Rockies very often, like we are. We will lose a series to the Rockies randomly. The Giants have yet to lose a series against the Rockies this year or in the last little while. So I'm not counting on that. I'm hoping that the Dodgers and then the Cardinals can tack on as many L's to the Giants as possible that knocks them out of contention. But after the 4-game Dodgers series, we will know a lot more about where the Giants stand. The Mets will play 1 more against the Padres today, and then they face the Nationals, the Cubs, and the Marlins. The Nationals and the Marlins, they have a good record against, so I am expecting series wins from both of those. But the Padres, it's very up in the air. They lost yesterday. They won the day before. So we're hoping for a series loss against the Padres. And then the Cubs that one's also up there pretty close. The Cubs, in case you don't know, hold the number 1 wild card spot, and they clinched a playoff berth yesterday. So they are officially in the playoffs. Hopefully they're playing hard. I'm sure they want to clinch the number 1 spot for the wild card. They want home field advantage whenever they can get it. So I imagine they're still going to be playing fairly hard. The Reds are going to play 4 against the Cubs. So the Reds have to face off against the Cubs first and then the Mets. So hopefully the Cubs can knock both of those guys out for us. That would be really, really nice. Then the Reds are going to play Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. Pittsburgh, I'm not expecting too much from that series. They'll probably win against them. But Milwaukee, it's the Brewers, and they're the best team in baseball. Hopefully they're still playing hard. Now, all those teams, hopefully they're playing hard. Now we're going to talk about us. We're going to play the Phillies starting tomorrow, 3-game series against the Phillies, and then a 3-game series against the Dodgers. Both of those are going to be at Chase Field, and we're going to go through our game plan against the Phillies and what we really need to be focusing on. And then after that, we're going to end the season with 3 games in San Diego. Again, and then the other thing is that there's a good chance, I'm not like super counting on this, but there's a good chance the Phillies have already clinched their division. The Dodgers will hopefully they sweep the Giants, and they clinch their division win by the time we play them. And then the Padres will have clinched their spot in the postseason with only 3 games left in the season. So hopefully we're bringing our A game. They're kind of taking their foot off the gas a little bit to keep from burning out, and we can rally and we can win each of these series, which we're going to pretty much need to win every series at this point. A sweep Yesterday might mean, oh, we could probably lose a series against the Phillies or not, win against the Padres or something like that. We may still make it in. But with looking at the Mets schedule and our schedule, it's going to be tight and we're going to need every win we can get. So that's a little bit discouraging, but we've beaten the Phillies in a series. We beat them. We won 2 out of 3 against them in the National League Championship, which is kind of the biggest stakes that it gets. They were definitely playing as hard as they could. Granted, that was 2 years ago, but the Dodgers, we have won against them plenty of times this year. And the Padres, that one's kind of a toss-up. We've won some series against them. We've lost some. So that is going to be it's going to be tight, but it could go either way. It could go our way in a big way. It could go not our way in a big way. It could be kind of right in the middle. So I'm very interested to see how that goes. But really, what I want to see good baseball from the Diamondbacks. I want to see their offense showing up and trying. And I want to see our young guys really, really getting the experience they need. Because, again, no matter how this season plays out, I think this has all been extraordinarily beneficial for our young players. Anyway, let's talk about the Phillies and our game plan against them. But before we do that really quick, we need to take a little break. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all in one personal finance tool that brings your financial life together in one clean, easy to use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use Locked On MLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. I'm still trying to get that transition figured out with the whole like all right, we're going to talk about this, but first let's have a word from our sponsor, or let's pay the bills, or let's do the I'm still figuring that part out. I'm still fairly new to this podcast hosting thing. In case you weren't aware, this is only my second week as a host of the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. Super happy to be here. I've been loving it. I'm a little less excited to be the host today specifically, but I have been loving it, and I am so excited for what we have planned for this podcast and how it involves you guys and how it involves really incorporating the fan base and trying to make as cool and exciting of an experience for you guys as possible. Big things in the works, not really things I could talk about just yet, but most things that we'll probably see towards the off season when things are a little bit less. Okay, let's look at the playoff picture now. Okay, now let's look at the playoff picture now. Okay, now let's look at the playoff picture now. If you don't like numbers and statistics, this may not be a podcast for you, or at least right now. Maybe come the off season, you might like it a little bit more. But anyway, hope you guys are having fun. I am, and I love seeing your guys' comments. You guys are super nice. So please keep it up because I like it. It makes me feel all good and warm and fuzzy inside. For the Phillies, actually starting with the Phillies series, we're going to be switching to a 4-man rotation. We are not going to be having Nabil Krismat in our rotation anymore. We're going to be sending him down to the bullpen for extra length. Torey Lovullo made it clear this is not a demotion for Krismat. This is simply it's time to switch to that 4-man roster. He has been great, and he has been very good. When he has his good outings, they are very good. When he has his not good outings, they're not terrible. Like some other pitchers, when they have a bad outing, they could just be trash. He's able to rein it in. He's done a very good job, and he gets us some pretty good length as a starting pitcher, which is what they want him in the bullpen for. They want to have somebody that now this late into the season, I think Torey is thinking, okay, there's a very good chance we could actually make the playoffs. It's time to start playing as if we're going to make the playoffs, which he hasn't really up to this point, which I think has actually worked for their benefit to an extent. So, but I think it's time. Okay, we need to start playing this way. So if Ryan Nelson comes out tomorrow and he pitches an inning or two and it's just like, oh boy, nope, this is not going to work, then he'll put Kuzma in for 4 innings and then we'll be back on schedule. I think that's the plan there. With the Phillies, it is, I mean, man, it is going to be a constant battle. The Phillies, their thing, in case you weren't aware, they score a lot. They get a lot of home runs. They get a lot of extra base hits. They are just, and they will just score and score and score. And a lot of times they won't score until the second half of the game. So they'll go through the whole first half of the game scoreless, and you're like, oh man, we're winning 3-0. We're going to beat the Phillies. And then they'll have an inning where they get 6 runs. And then they'll have another inning where they get 3 more runs. And then, Kyle Schwarber will hit another solo home run after that just to put icing on the cake. So we need our offense to show up in a big, big way. We need to come out strong to start the game, and then we need to keep our foot on the gas. If the Diamondbacks need to be looking for a way every single inning to score. And I know that sounds like, oh well, yeah, obviously that's what they're doing. That's like telling a bowling student, like, hey, you knock down all the pins, okay? Okay, thanks, coach. But that's what needs to be happening. Every single leadoff guy and every single inning needs to be, I just need to get on base. That needs to be the mindset. That needs to be the headspace. Ketel Marte needs to figure something out so badly, because we are not going to beat the Phillies unless he is there and he shows up and he plays right. Defensively, we need to be basically perfect. We can't be making errors. Yesterday was a good day. We didn't really make any errors. The series has been fairly good for us defensively, so we need to continue that. And we're at home, familiar turf, literally, and we need to just make sure that we hold on and we make our defense needs to stick. Our pitchers need to go deep into the game. It looks like, because I'm not an expert on the Phillies. Maybe I should be, but the fact that they score so much late in the game tells me that they often will just wait out the starting pitcher and then they attack the bullpen, which isn't terrible because our bullpen has been pretty effective. So if that is their strategy, then let's make sure that our starters go long, that they can go the 6 innings, 7 innings, whatever it is. Pfaadt again went 9 innings yesterday. I'm never going to get over that. So good. It felt like watching Randy Johnson again, or Kurt Schilling, or Brandon Webb or something, just shutout game. Man, that was cool. You don't see that very often anymore. Speaking of pitchers, we will likely, it hasn't been announced yet, but we will likely be seeing from the Phillies, Taijuan Walker, yes, the Diamondbacks former pitcher, Taijuan Walker, Aaron Nola, and Ranger Suarez as their starting pitchers. Taijuan Walker has a 4.17 ERA, not super great, not terrible, but his last 7 starts, and I have this pulled up, his ERA has been 5.5. So he hasn't been looking super wonderful in the last 5 games. He's 1 for 3 over his last 7 games. Sorry, not 5. His last 7 games. So that is promising. And we have Ryan Nelson facing him. Ryan Nelson has been amazing when he's amazing. If he can, that sounds, what a great take, huh? But when he's on, he's good to go. So if he can go as long through this game as possible, if we can attack Taijuan Walker with everything that we have, we just might be able to pull out a game 1 win right there. And then if our bullpen can hold their power hitters at bay, then we got a pretty good shot. The next day, Aaron Nola, who I read and I was like, oh no, that's not good. But then I looked at his ERA. His ERA is 6.44. His last 7 games, his ERA is 8.49, which it looks like he was out most of the season. I'm just looking at his stat sheet right here, but 6.44, or yes, 8.49 in his last 7 games. That's nice. And on average, he's pitched 5 innings per game. So if we can attack him early on, that's good. Zach Gallen is going against him. Zach Gallen has been having a great run lately. So if he can continue that, then that is great. If those first 2 games, if we can win the first 2 games of the series against the Phillies, incredible, amazing. World Series, here we come, you know. But again, the other thing, if we do make it to the playoffs, we would face the Dodgers. And if we beat the Dodgers, we would then face the Phillies. So this is it. So if we can win these next 2 series and we upset these 2 division winners, that says kind of a lot. And that's going to bring a lot of good attention to the small Arizona Diamondbacks team, the underdogs that they are. And then finally, game 3, we're going to be going up against Ranger Suarez, who has been quite good lately. His ERA is 2.84, and the last 7 games is 2.57. So he's actually been doing fairly well lately, pitching 6 innings on average in his last 7 starts. So we are going to have to definitely be careful. He's 4-1 in his last 7 starts. So that one's going to be rough. He's going up against Eduardo Rodriguez, which his last outing wasn't so great, but the 3 before that, fantastic. So if he can get back to that, I think we'll be good. But again, the key to this series is offense, offense, offense. And momentum is going to be huge. So we need to be, if we're not scoring every single inning, we can't go 3 up, 3 down. We have to get on base somehow. We have to draw walks. We have to get hit by pitches. Don't purposely get hit, but you know what I mean. We need to get base hits, even if they're just little bloops. Even if we're stranding players on base, we just need to be showing, hey, we're here and we're serious. We're being aggressive. And their game 1 and game 2, both Walker and Nola have a bit of a high walk rate. So we may want to be more patient with them, but Suarez, we may want to attack pretty hard. His walk rate is quite low. In 7 games, he's had 10 walks. So nearly 1 per game. Today is a day off, you guys. So let's take it easy. Let's all watch the Mets game and let's watch the Giants game and let's pray that they get their losses. If the Mets lose today, we are only 1 game behind them. If they win, we're 2 games behind them. So this is a situation I hate to be in. This is a situation we were in last year where we are completely not in control. We're just watching and hoping. So let's watch and let's hope. And it may go our way. So go Dodgers and go Padres. We are Dodger fans and Padre fans today, folks. Golly, that's horrible. But anyway, it's all for the greater good so that we can beat them here later. Every win right now is so precious, and every one of their losses is so precious. So I will be back here first thing tomorrow morning, where we are actually going to hear from you guys, being an off day today. Tomorrow, we're going to read off a lot of your comments. So please leave your thoughts in the comment section of any of their YouTube videos. That's the best way to reach out to us right now. And we will read off a handful of them for one of our segments in the show tomorrow. Again, loved hearing from you guys. It's easily my favorite part of running this podcast is hearing from you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you to Paul for his comment that we shared earlier today. If you want to get any more of me, you can go and find some of my other work, my other YouTube channels and projects at slackshack.tv. Thank you so much for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every day. For your second listen, though, find the all-night Locked On MLB game night. Every game, every night until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB game night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. My name is Danon Biggs, and we will see you tomorrow.